Daisuke Tobari is, or possibly was, a Japanese guitarist. It's quite hard to find information on him, but as far as I can work out, he was signed to Bumblebee Records. He had 3 albums, and this may or may not be a picture of him. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is a request review. Let me just give you a bit of context. So this channel is a channel devoted to album reviews, and my main task at the moment is I'm working my way through the 3,000 greatest albums of all time as determined by a site called Acclaimed Music. And I'm just done the 400th in that series, so I've got quite a long way to go. But I have these occasional distractions, and I invite people to nominate albums for me to do request reviews of. So if you have an album that you want me to do a review of, then please just stick a comment on this or any other video on my channel, and I may or may not get around to it. I don't have a huge list at the moment, so your chances are pretty high right now if you do it. So let's talk about this album. This was requested by a fairly regular commenter. I think he or she is subscribed, called Killer Ranger 11, and it's album Drum by whatever this guy's name was, Daisuke. No, sorry, I'm just going to have to look this up because I don't remember it. Yeah, Daisuke Tobari, okay. And I've spent quite a bit of time trying to find out information. I'm fairly sure I have got and have listened to the album that he wanted me to, or she wanted me to listen to. Apologies if it's the wrong one, and if it's fairly obviously the wrong one, then please let me know and we'll see what else we can find out. But it's not easy to research, so there's no Wikipedia page for him. There's no presence on Spotify or on Apple Music that I could find. I did find some information on some other websites. I found some listings on Discogs. I couldn't find anything on AllMusic, but I did find a YouTube playlist that probably is this album. As I say, my confidence isn't necessarily huge, especially as it's not an official playlist. It's just some person on YouTube, so I'm very reliant on them for this. I've never come across this guy before. So this is the first experience for me listening to this, and the other thing to throw in is I'm not exactly sure about the track names, whether I'm correct on these or not. That information is taken from Discogs. Okay, so let's get into the review. So broadly, I would say that this is kind of folky music, and it has been labelled as folk, with a little bit of a caveat on that. I think there's a tendency to label anything that feels acoustic, especially acoustic guitar, as being folk. It's got some stuff in common with some folk traditions as well. It's a nylon strung guitar. Now, I need to explain this. The last time I came across one of these and called it a Spanish guitar. Somebody picked me up on it. My natural tendency is to call it a classical guitar, but actually there's quite a lot of music done for these guitars that is not classical music. And I know nylon strung isn't exactly correct either, but it's there are 2 broad types of acoustic guitar. There's the most common one, which is used in popular music, which is a steel strung guitar, and has all sorts of reinforcement to make it be able to stand up to the pressures of that. And classical guitar music, though, is played on an acoustic classic guitar, which is some of the strings are usually nylon, which is why I'm calling it that. Anyway, it's that sound, and there's 1 or sometimes 2 of these guitars. I think it's the same guy overdubbing. I can't absolutely guarantee that. There's some singing as well, and I think that's the guy himself as well. Sometimes there's words, maybe there's some Japanese, I don't know. Maybe I had a sneaking suspicion that some of it might be Hawaiian, but I might be wrong there. The word Christmas is in English, but that's the only one that I could pick up in English. And there are some bits of the singing that are wordless singing, so it's kind of vocalizing without actually having some words. Stylistically, well, I've mentioned folk. I would say there's various different styles coming into collision here. Some tracks are in one, some are in another, and so there's quite a bit of variation between. There's some things have a kind of Spanish Latin feel, so almost flamenco at times, and I guess that's reinforced by the use of this kind of guitar. There was one track at least that felt a bit Hawaiian to me. And again, the style of instrument lends itself to that thought. And then there's some that reminded me of what I think of as mellow West Coast folk, so from America. I guess from the 70s particularly, there was this kind of laid-back folk feel that various people did. The one that springs to mind is, I think they're really not very well known, is John Mark and Johnny Almond, I think, were their names, but they were known as Mark Almond. And it had a feel like that. It's this kind of laid-back, sitting in the sun, kind of strumming away feel. Sometimes there's a kind of dreamlike quality to it, and I think it owes a little bit to dream pop. Yeah, a tiny bit. Harmonically, it's diverse. So there's Western stuff, there's more Eastern stuff, there's more fluid stuff. And it's generally pretty mellow. It's got a slight feeling of wildness to it. And I think that's helped by the vocals, particularly, especially the wordless vocals of a kind of wild and expressing something inner to it. It's also, I would describe it as having a kind of open and spacious feel to it. It feels like it's been, you don't have the sounds of outdoors, but it doesn't feel like it's kind of contained in an indoor space. It feels kind of more open than that. I'm not sure why this album is called Drum. I don't think I heard any drums anywhere on it. I think it's all guitar and voice. But, choose to call it whatever you want. I liked it quite a lot, actually. I could listen to this several times. It's definitely my kind of thing. It's got a mellow kind of world feel to it. My favourite track probably is the third track in the listing that I listened to, which uses the same chord sequence as several things that I've known, including the one that springs to mind is Chim Chimney from Mary Poppins has that chord sequence, but it's a nice descending bass chord sequence that I really enjoy. So I quite liked it. So there you are, Kill Ranger. Thank you so much for introducing me to this. This is definitely a win on my side. And if anyone else fancies a listen or knows it already or wants to give any comments about it, then please do so using the comments box. And that's it from me for now.